A sweeping new law is transforming American immigration. Congress has passed a $170 billion package not just for border security, but a complete overhaul of the legal immigration system. The law brings more money to agencies like USCIS and ICE, but with stricter screening and advanced technology. For millions, the rules for living and working in the U.S. have changed overnight. Application fees are up, processes are more complex, and the system is less forgiving. Families, workers, and employers are all feeling the impact. Higher costs, more paperwork, and longer waits. The government's focus has shifted from processing to scrutinizing every application. Even those who followed the rules for years now face new hurdles. Real people are affected. A Texas family's sponsorship fees have doubled. A California engineer faces invasive questions, and a Florida business owner struggles with new verification rules. The promise was a more secure, efficient system. The reality is a maze of costs and anxieties. Nearly every visa category is affected, from green cards to work permits. This law marks a fundamental shift in how America views legal immigration. Understanding these changes is crucial for immigrants, families, employers, and communities. We'll break down what this law means for you, covering green cards, work permits, workplace rules, and economic effects. Experts are weighing in, and the debate is just beginning. This is your guide to the new American immigration landscape. Whether you're an applicant, employer, or advocate, these changes will shape your future. Let's explore what's changed, who's affected, and what you need to know. Welcome to a new era in U.S. immigration. Getting a green card is now harder and more expensive than ever. Application fees have doubled. Family-based green cards now cost over $3,500. Many families must delay applications, stuck in legal limbo while they save up. The process is more complex, with longer forms and demands for detailed background checks, including social media and employment history. USCIS says it's about security, but for applicants, it's a heavier burden of proof. A single mistake can mean long delays or outright denial. Mandatory in-person interviews are now required for almost all applicants, creating massive backlogs. Wait times for interviews have stretched to over a year in some cities. Even after paying higher fees and submitting perfect paperwork, families are stuck waiting. Take Maria and Carlos. Last year, their process was faster and cheaper. Now they've paid nearly double, gathered more documents, and face a 16-month wait for an interview. For Carlos, that's another year and a half without permanent residency or the ability to travel freely. Thousands are facing similar delays and uncertainty. The new reality: higher costs, more paperwork, and longer waits for everyone. The system is less forgiving, and the stakes are higher. Applicants must be meticulous. One error can derail years of effort. The path to legal status is now a costly, complicated maze. For many, the American dream is slipping further out of reach. This is the new normal for green card seekers. The stakes for immigration applicants have never been higher. USCIS officers now have more power to deny applications outright. No more second chances for missing documents or minor errors. A denial can immediately trigger deportation proceedings, even for those who've lived legally in the U.S. for years. H-1B workers, students, and families are all at risk. One mistake and legal status can vanish overnight. Fear of denial is making immigrants hesitant to apply for benefits or renewals, worried that any misstep could lead to removal. Lawyers urge clients to triple-check every form and submit overwhelming evidence, driving up costs and stress. Even a forgotten signature can mean denial and the start of deportation. The system now feels more like a trap than a service. For students, workers, and families, the margin for error is gone. The pressure is intense, and the consequences are life-altering. Legal applicants must walk a tightrope. One slip, and everything can be lost. The new law has turned routine paperwork into a high-stakes gamble. The risk of denial and deportation is now a daily reality. Navigating the system has never been more perilous. Work permits are a lifeline for many immigrants, but getting or renewing them is now a major challenge. Processing times for employment authorization documents have soared to 10-14 months, up from just a few months. Asylum seekers, spouses, and green card applicants are all caught in the backlog. Delays mean people lose jobs, driver's licenses, and the ability to support their families. Fees for renewals have doubled, and new biometric appointments add more cost and hassle. Families with multiple applicants face thousands in extra expenses every few years. The uncertainty is crushing. People can't plan for work, housing, or even daily life. Employers are also affected, struggling to retain workers whose legal status is in limbo. Businesses face project delays and talent shortages as a result. The ripple effect harms families, companies, and the broader economy. The work permit squeeze is destabilizing communities nationwide. For many, following the rules no longer guarantees stability. The system's delays and costs are pushing people to the brink. The future for work permit holders is more uncertain than ever. The new law brings a crackdown on workplace enforcement. ICE's budget for audits has soared, and more businesses are being targeted, big and small. Employers face mandatory e-verify checks, new compliance costs, and the risk of heavy fines for paperwork errors. Mistakes in e-verify can wrongly cost legal workers their jobs, with little time to fix government database errors. Even citizens and legal residents can get caught in the system's glitches. The climate at work is tense. Immigrant workers feel under constant scrutiny, and employers are wary of hiring anyone who might trigger an audit. Discrimination risks rise as businesses try to avoid mistakes. The increased scrutiny affects everyone, not just the undocumented. For employers, the administrative burden is growing. For workers, the risk of losing a job over a technicality is real. The workplace has become a minefield of new rules and risks. The law's enforcement focus is reshaping the American job market. The new law impacts every visa category. Tourist, student, and high-skilled worker visas are all more expensive and slower to process. Application fees have jumped, and wait times for interviews at U.S. embassies can now stretch over 2 years. Intensive screening means more backlogs and fewer approvals. The tourism industry and universities are losing out as international visitors and students look elsewhere. Employment-based visas like the H-1B face more scrutiny and legal hurdles, driving up costs for companies and delaying critical hires. The U.S. is becoming less attractive to global talent and visitors. The message America is closing its doors, even to those who want to come legally. Scientists, students, and skilled workers all face a tougher path. Bureaucratic delays are building an invisible wall. The long-term impact could be fewer jobs, less innovation, and a weaker economy. The visa labyrinth is harder than ever to navigate. The world is watching as America's welcome mat is pulled back. The economic fallout from the immigration overhaul is widespread. Families face crushing costs, higher fees, legal bills, and lost income from work permit delays. A single green card process can drain $10,000 or more from a family's savings. Businesses, from farms to tech firms, struggle with workforce instability and higher recruitment costs. Delays and uncertainty mean lost productivity and missed opportunities. Immigrants are also consumers and entrepreneurs. When they're forced to spend on fees, local economies suffer. Fewer new businesses and jobs are being created as a result. Industries like agriculture, hospitality, and healthcare are hit hardest. Universities worry about losing international students and tuition revenue. The law was meant to protect jobs, but many economists warn it could slow growth and raise prices. Instability in the labor market affects everyone. The economic consequences are real and growing. The new law is facing backlash from lawyers, advocates, businesses, and even some lawmakers. Immigration attorneys warn that deny without warning policies are turning paperwork errors into life-altering crises. Advocacy groups say fee hikes and strict rules hurt low-income families and asylum seekers most. It's a two-tiered system, one for the wealthy, one for everyone else, says Maria Rodriguez, a community leader. Protests and lobbying efforts are ramping up to challenge the harshest measures. The business community fears the law will make it harder to compete for global talent. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce calls for a more predictable, efficient system. Even some lawmakers who supported the bill now worry about unintended consequences, labor shortages, family separations, and economic harm. The debate is far from over, as the real-world impacts become impossible to ignore. Calls for reform are growing louder. The future of U.S. immigration policy is still being written. The stakes for families, businesses, and the country are higher than ever. In this new immigration landscape, preparation is key. Stay informed. Use official sources and trusted legal help, not unlicensed consultants. Double-check every application for accuracy and completeness. Gather more evidence than you think you need and keep documents organized. If possible, invest in a good immigration lawyer to avoid costly mistakes. Plan for higher fees and long delays. Save early and apply as far in advance as possible. Be ready for tough choices about work, travel, and life plans. Connect with community organizations for support, legal workshops, and resources. Share your story. Raising awareness can help drive change. Remember, you're not alone. Many are facing the same challenges. The system is tough, but being proactive and careful can make a difference. Build a support network and stay engaged. The fight for a better, fairer system continues. With knowledge and preparation, families can navigate this new reality. The road is hard, but hope and resilience remain.